just something to keep an eye on. So job scams. Times are hard, money is short, people are looking for jobs. Often scammers use that need for money as the way to get people to give them personal information or banking information. So they'll say things like, you can make your own hours, you can make thousands of dollars in just working like 2 hours a day, you can work from home, very convenient if you have children or you're a caregiver or something like that. You can earn $500 to $1,000 a week guaranteed. All you got to do is have a computer and click a couple of buttons 2 hours a day, right? Sounds too good to be true. So they advertise the same way that other real job postings do. So LinkedIn, Indeed, on different places where real jobs are. But again, knowing that they're making all of these promises, that there's guarantees. Sometimes they say, hey, you get the job and you didn't even interview for it. Right? I've gotten text messages that's like, does $75,000 to $100,000 sound like a good deal for the job? Click this link, we need you. That does sound good, but I'm not clicking any links, right? So they create fake job ads. They say, big promising things like this, but then if you respond, then they ask for things like your social security number to apply. Why does anyone need my social before they've hired me and I'm filling out tax information, right? So if they're asking for lots of information up front, assume it's a scam, walk away. Sometimes though, they will do fake job ads. So let's say Bath is advertising for someone and then you close that advertisement. A scammer may have hit copy and paste. And instead of applying at bath.org or whatever, they want you to apply at this fake site that they've put in. So you put all this application information in, your resume, where you've worked. We've given all this information to a scammer now, not just the name and address and phone number, but all of our work history, our references, all this stuff. So just being very, very mindful when someone's asking for lots of information up front. I always say using sites like LinkedIn, Indeed, things like that are helpful to find it. But if you're applying, don't respond to a recruiter in the messages. Don't apply straight through those sites. Go to the company's website and apply for the job on their website. If it's a legit active job posting, it's going to be there. We also see like car wrap scams. So they'll say, hey, we'll pay you big money. We just do this car wrap thing. You see these a lot on social media. They say things like, you'll make $600 to $700 a week advertising for us. Basically, they send you a check. It's a fake check scam. So they send you a check to have you deposit the money into your bank account, and then they say, use this money to pay the installer to have your car wrapped. And then they say, oops, we sent you too much. Can you send the rest of it back to us? Or, what happens is it takes a bank a while to realize that the check is fraudulent. You cashed a fraudulent check, basically. A couple weeks later, the bank says, hey, you cashed a fraudulent check. We want our money back. And so you have to pay that, $600, $700 or whatever that you deposited. And if you sent the extra money back to the scammer, you also sent $100 to the scammer. So you're out $700 and there's a flag on your account with the bank because you've cashed a fraudulent check. So just be very mindful of the kinds of jobs that you're applying for. And if they say weird things like, I'm going to send you a check and you deposit it and, send the money somewhere else. And anytime you're sending money and getting checks, I assume it's a fake check. Often these scammers also will say deposit the check, but then pay the installer through cryptocurrency, or pay them through a payment app, or something like that. You're sending money. You're basically handing someone cash of your own because the bank is coming back to get their $700 or whatever. So just whenever you hear, demanding that you pay in certain ways, assume that it is a scammer. Anytime someone says they want to send you a check, again, a car wrap is an example. Sometimes we see, like, if you're selling a car, say you're selling a car on Facebook Marketplace, someone could respond and say, hey, I'm interested in this car. I'm going to send you a deposit now. I am in Lynchburg. I can't come, but I want you to hold this car for me. And so they send you money. They wire you money so that you will keep the car for them. And then eventually they say, oh, family emergency, I can't get up there, or I just lost my job, so I can't buy the car. Can you send the money back to me? So you say, sure, yeah, I hope everything gets better for you. So you send them the $5,000 back, because they sent you the money, right? But it was fraudulent. And so eventually that check will bounce, or that deposit won't actually go through, and that $5,000 that you sent back to the scammer because you hope that life gets better for them, you actually just handed them $5,000. So anytime there's money transactions, things like that, just always take your time. Online quizzes. So, sometimes people are like, ooh, I want to know what my Harry Potter code name would be, right? And so then the online quiz, you click it and they say, what street were you born on? And what was the name of the band, your favorite band, and your first dog's name? And then they say, oh, this is your Harry Potter code name. But what other place would someone be asking those questions?
The bank, a credit card.
Yeah, your security questions. So sometimes scammers will create these online quizzes and say, you can find out your, Marvel superhero name, but what they're really asking is those security questions. So when they hit forgot password and they say, okay, Terri, what's your mom's maiden name? And what was your best friend growing up? And what was your dog's name? Those are my security questions. So you fill out the quiz and you hit submit. Who are you sending it to? You don't know. We don't know, right? I say assume that it's going on some Excel spreadsheet somewhere for them to use later, because now they've tied it to your social media account and they have all your information. So online quizzes, be very careful what answers you're sharing. How many of you got a text message last week about a toll, unpaid toll? I think I've done 5 presentations this week, from Chicago to the West Coast. Everyone has gotten that text message. I have no idea who's gotten our information, but I think everyone got at least one toll evasion text message last week. You have unpaid tolls. You need to click this link and pay it right away. If you can see, they'll say an amount, right? There's usually a link, and sometimes the link will be, let's see if I put the actual link. No, I had the link on mine was like irs.gov list.com, like something not the IRS website, but they're like, we're gonna report it, right? On this one, they're saying reply yes, and then exit the text and open it again to activate the link, and then copy it into your browser, and that's a lot, right? One, if you don't go through tolls, which we don't have any tolls around here, it's a scam, right? I do have a toll transponder for when I'm in DC or something like that. I haven't been up there in a long time. It's a scam. Even if you have tolls where you are, that's usually not how that works, right? They say, hey, we just automatic paid, or like put the money back on your transponder, right? If you have like the auto reload kind of thing. Or they say there's a problem, you get an email, you get a thing in the mail, something like that. Check the URL. If they're asking you to do all kinds of weird stuff, probably a scam too. But yeah, those text messages, I wouldn't even hit why. Don't even reply. Why am I saying that?
Because they have your number if you reply.
You're letting the scammer know that it is an active number and they can try something else crazy on you. Right? So, and that applies to, like, I did a write-up recently that said, like, meet me for coffee. Don't respond. That's a scam. Anyone gotten a text that's like, hey, are you free for coffee next week? I got that one before. Don't ever respond. It's just a bid for attention to see if you'll respond. Is this an active number? You say wrong number, and they say, oh, I'm so sorry. I guess I got the wrong number. I'm new in town. Because I've read the reports. It didn't happen to me because I didn't respond, but I've read the consumer reports. If you respond, they say, I'm new in town. You seem like such a nice person. Would you like to meet for coffee? No, right? But, you know, if you text with them, they're like, hey, well, you know, I'm out of town right now, but let's plan to get together soon. By the way, let me teach you how to make money in the crypto market. Like, I don't know. They say really wacky things, but basically it's a bid to get a connection to see if that number is active. So if you get a scam, whether it's tolls or meet me for coffee or, you know, sweepstakes, don't respond. Just don't respond. QR codes too. So sometimes they're really convenient. If there's a survey, let's say the hospital wants to give you a survey, they want you to fill out your customer satisfaction. It might be legit. So usually, has anyone scanned a QR code before? Yeah, so you take out your phone and you you put your phone over the thing, and it usually gives, like, at least on an iPhone, it gives you like a yellow thing and helps you preview the URL. If, let's just say Bath does that, you can check the URL before you actually click it. If it doesn't say bathcommunityhospital.org, or, you know, if it's something that you're actually expecting that QR code to go to, don't click it. I don't do URLs, period, just because of the nature of the work I do and the problems, but definitely check the URLs before you click them. So we've heard that sometimes, you know, if you're in a bigger city that has pay meters, those parking meters, a scammer will put a new QR code over, you know, because it's like, I don't have change, I don't have cash, so I'm gonna just scan the QR code, pay my parking through the meter, and go on about my merry way. But if it's not the actual banking, you know, like meters QR code, then I just paid someone else and I'm about to get a ticket because I didn't pay for this space. So just be very careful. Usually if it's like a parking meter, they're gonna have their website there as well. Make sure that the QR code matches what it's supposed to before you click it. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves? There's a million. I could give you 7,000 more. But basically protecting yourself, we've said it multiple times, don't respond. You do not have to respond. Even if you are nervous and worried about it, don't respond in that moment. Say, thank you for calling about my bank. I need to call you back. Hang up, call your bank directly and check it out. Take your time. Slow down. Whether it's IRS and money laundering, or someone is out for your arrest, they're not coming to your door at this moment. Hang up, call the police, call whomever to get some help with it. But take your time. And if you're not sure, go somewhere. The hospital, the library, the police department, a friend, ask someone else. Sometimes just talking about a scam will help you to spot it. Someone else will say, don't respond to that. I've seen that before, that's a scam. So don't keep it a secret. Listen to how they tell you to pay. If they're saying, you have to wire me money, you have to take money out of this account and put it in another one, you have to send it through cryptocurrency or something like that, there's a reason they're asking for those types of payment methods. Because you won't get the money back. One, it's hard to trace them, and two, it's nearly impossible for you to get your money back. So listen to how they tell you to pay, and then, like I said, talk to someone you trust. So reporting is so important. I can give you the examples that I had today, not just because I'm a consumer too, but also because we get those reports. So just like Lori said, if you suspect a scam, it is a scam, whatever it is, report it to us at reportfraud.ftc.gov, and tell us your story. so I can tell other people your story and spread the word. But not just so you can tell us a story, but also tell us what happened to you, so that companies that deceive and say the service is free and it's not, so that we have the build-up, we have the numbers of people who've lost money, we have the stories to say this is a problem, you need to stop that, right? So it helps law enforcement, local law enforcement, and larger law enforcement like the FTC to go after those bad actors, those dishonest businesses, and hopefully shut them down and get money back to people. So reporting is super, super important. Real quick, what to do if you paid a scammer, because sometimes it happens, right? I told you, a story of someone I know. If you paid with a credit card, contact your credit card company and say, I think I just paid a scammer. How do I dispute this? Do I need to change my credit card number? Like, what do I do? How do we put a flag on my account? Something like that. Credit cards, I'll tell you, have the most protections. If it's a wire transfer, contact the wire transfer company, Western Union or, MoneyGram. Contact them and tell them the same. If it was a gift card, because a lot of times I didn't mention gift cards, but sometimes scammers will tell you to pay things with a gift card. Again, because it's like handing them cash. You may not be able to get that money back, but it's always worth a try. If you act quickly and you know what happened. Money transfer apps like PayPal and Venmo and Cash App, things like that, you can do the same. Same with crypto. There is no guarantee that you'll get the money back, but always worth asking. Identity theft, really quick. So I gave the examples of how scammers want your financial or your personal information. Similarly, identity theft is a thing. So, they want things like your social security number, they want your address, they want your name, they might want your health insurance benefits numbers, your pension, like your VA pension or, something like that. So that they can do things like, use your money, use your credit card information and go on a shopping spree. They may want that information to use your credit and buy, get new credit cards or open utilities in your name. Sometimes scammers are just looking to get information so they can, start their own utilities at their home in your name, which is wild. Or they want to use your unemployment benefits, your health insurance, things like that. So there's a lot of different ways. I'll tell you, it's tax season, so I always bring this up. I was affected by tax identity theft about 12 years ago. I filed my taxes with Turbo. Got an email that my return was rejected. I was like, okay, what happened? Check it, hit submit again because, and they rejected it again. So I called the IRS and they said, oh, someone has already filed a tax return using that social security number. So I have no idea how they got it. I know the address was in Illinois. They got a tax return using my social. So basically I had to file paper and, file a dispute with the IRS that, it was identity theft and I have an extra PIN number that I have to use to file every year. I can't file my taxes without that extra PIN to verify that it's me every year. So lots of different ways scammers want to use it. How identity theft happens, a lost or stolen wallet. You leave your phone somewhere and the wrong person gets it. I'll tell you, not smart. If I leave my phone somewhere, it won't be good for me. But I know a lot of folks do that as well. Hacking, social media, hacking your page. If you have your information tied to your social media or they get into your online accounts, your bank account, things like that. Data breaches. We talked a lot about phishing scams. So, the personal information that you may accidentally share with a scammer. Mailboxes, dumpster diving, and I'll even say things like paying over the phone, right? So let's say you want to order a pizza and you don't do the online payment thing and you give your information over the phone for something. We assume that, it's going into the computer and they make the transaction and it's fine, but what happens if they write it down? We don't know. Right? What happens if it's written down somewhere and then it ends up in the trash and a scammer knows that these things get written down and they go through the trash. They've got your name, your credit card number, your phone number. A lot of damage can be done with that. So basically, how to know if someone stole your identity. For me, it was I filed my taxes and it got rejected. It could be that you read your bill or your bank account and you see charges that are not yours. You start to notice, on your Amazon, like orders that you didn't place. Someone may have, hacked into your account. If you get emails about car loans that you didn't take out a loan for, it's like, hey, here's that information you asked for your car loan. I didn't take out a car loan. That could be someone misusing your information. And checking your credit. Has anyone checked their credit before? Check the credit report? Mm-hmm. Okay, so annualcreditreport.com makes it super easy. You log on and you can check all of them right there. Tax identity theft, I check it every year at tax time especially, but you can check it weekly. Depending on what's going on in your life, if you're nervous, you can check it regularly, but you go on and you say, I'm gonna check Experian. You scan your credit report for any accounts that are not yours, mistakes, addresses that are not yours, again, mortgages and car loans that you didn't authorize, and that's how you can dispute those things. So you check each one, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and then handle it from there. So these are kind of the ways to tell if you've been affected by identity theft. I always say protection is key. Freezing your credit is a really good way to do that. Fraud alert's great too, and I'll talk about it, but freezing your credit is great. It's free to place, it's free to lift. You go to each of the credit bureau's websites. I just did this again recently. You go to the site, you put in your information, and you just hit the little toggle button that says freeze my credit. I can't even check my credit right now. It's frozen, right? So if I need to apply for a loan or a credit card or something like that, I have to call Equifax and say, hey, lift my credit report real quick so they can run it. And then I call back and say, hey, put that credit freeze back on there. Make sure no one can even access your credit, not even you, like I said.